Italy in 2014. More than 28 years of rich experience spanning research, administration, and management, simulation, and public health. Active researcher with the publication. Um, active Ma'am has published more than 94 research papers on her credit and author of 4 chapters, 2 books, 12 grants as a primary investigator, 8 grants as a co-primary investigator, and also involved as PhD co-supervision and MSN thesis primary supervision. Ma'am has participated in various recognized national and international conferences, workshops, seminars, webinars, and TV shows in all over India and overseas. Madam has received many awards and achievements such as nominated Best Teachers Awards, Exceptional Performance Awards in Teaching, Lifetime Achievement Doctorate Award, and Rashtriya Vidya Saraswati Award, Best Researcher Award, and many more. I'm handing over to you, Judy ma'am. You can continue with your session, ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'll share the screen. Hope my screen is visible to everybody. Is my screen visible?
Not yet, ma'am. It is
Okay.
about, yes, now it's visible, ma'am. You can make it slideshow.
Oh, sure. 1 minute. Hope it is in slideshow mode now.
I think it's going to take few seconds.
Okay.
You can try moving the slide, ma'am.
Can you?
Yes, but it's not fitting the whole screen, ma'am. Once more, you can try for the slideshow.
Don't know what is the issue.
Actually, it was slideshow, but it was not fitting in the whole screen.
1 minute. Okay.
Ma'am, you can double click to enter the full screen.
So it says PowerPoint has detected that your graphics card may not be configured properly for an optimal slideshow experience. It says like that. Hope it is visible,
Okay,
right?
now
The content
it's
is, you're able
fine.
to view.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. We are
Thank you very
able to
much.
see the content.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Dr. Poonam. And I really thank all the participants who are here in the online platform. So I'm Dr. Judie Arrulappan. I'm a certified healthcare simulation educator, and currently I'm working as the Director of Nursing Laboratory and Simulation Unit and Associate Professor in the Department of Maternal and Child Health, College of Nursing, Sultan Quboos University, Oman. Our institution is accredited by Accreditation Commission of Education in Nursing. And this is my contact details. This is my mobile number, as well as this is my office number and email ID. I would like to thank the Nursing Teachers Association of India, the organizers, for having invited me for this presentation, because the topic given to me, really, this is the topic which I love, and I really wanted people to really understand the importance of publishing the research work in reputed journals and how to disseminate the research findings. So I was super excited when Dr. Poonam asked me about this topic. Then I said, agreed for this, because based on my experience, I'm going to share my experience so that it will be very useful for all of you. So I would like to say my reflection in nursing research. Don't think that I'm an expert from the beginning. No, because I had lots of failures in my research journey. Now I have succeeded in the journey after undergoing lots of failures in my professional, especially in the nursing research. If you see, when I was back home, I published 60 papers in non-index journals, because when I attended interview in Sultan Quboos University in 2015, the dean asked me the first question, why, Judy, you didn't publish anything in Scopus Index journals? That is the first time I was hearing the word Scopus Index journals in 2015. Then I said I have no idea about it, and I did not get any mentorship regarding the publication. That is the reason I ended up publishing 60 papers in non-index journals. Then she said, hereafter, you should never publish, not even one paper you should publish in non-index journals. And that is the point I realized the importance of publishing in Scopus index journals. So I did not have any Scopus or Web of Science publication until 2015. I struggled even during my PhD thesis. I took a case control study where I really did not understand how to go about with this study, because I did not get proper mentorship and guidance through in that phase. That is the point I decided at least I should be getting more of experience in this field. Therefore, I will be able to guide my own juniors and my students as well as the faculty. So I did not get proper mentorship, and here in our university, our contract renewal is based on productivity in teaching, research, university and community service. If you're going to produce good, because our outcomes, our key performance indicators are measured in teaching, research, university and community service. So based on that only our contract is renewed here. So where there is a push always that we have to publish. Then, and I started publishing in Scopus and Web of Index journals since 2015 after joining Sultan Quboos University. And my first experience, I got my paper rejected 13 times. So that is the point where I realized it is not that easy to publish in Scopus Index journals, and I started working hard on publishing in Scopus Index journal from that point of time. So after this failure experiences, I really become really successful in this publication journey. In 2015 August, I joined Sultan Quboos University. Now I am completing 10 years in this August. If you see in the last 10 years, my citations, you can see 14,253, and my H index is 39 and my I index is 71. And I am in the 10th place in Sultan Quboos University in 2025, because if you see this, I am in the top 10. So across the university, I am in the top 10 list. So how I have come from 2015 to 2025, you can see a significant change in my publication journey. Similarly, if you see my Scopus, I have 112 Scopus publication, and my Scopus citations are 10,282, and my H-index in Scopus is 30. So you can see how we can transform from a, I was a novice researcher in 2015, and how I have transformed to this level. It is really lots of hardship. However, I could succeed. So how did I get my experience in nursing research and publication? So I had research mentors. When I joined here, I had really good research mentors who were there to support me. And I attended lots of workshops and conferences related to research, and I used to read and critique research articles, and I regularly attend journal clubs, and I conduct studies using different research designs. I always, whenever I do a study, I conduct different studies using different research designs. Then I started publishing manuscripts using different research designs, and I became a reviewer and editor of peer-reviewed Scopus Index journals, and I became a member of Research and Ethics Committee in the College of Nursing Sultan Quboos University, and I review the BSN, MSN and PhD thesis, and I teach research classes as well as I supervise graduation projects, and I mentor junior faculty in research, and I conduct nursing research mentorship programs, because whenever I come to India, people call me for nursing research mentorship programs. I do that. And I'm an editor and associate editor in Scopus Index journals like BNC Nursing, Sage Open Nursing and all that. And I also do academic writing services. So these are various activities I do where I really, it is helping me to improve myself in nursing research and publication. So I started acquiring funds for my research. If you see, I wrote funded projects as a principal investigator, 17 funded projects. In that, I got funds for undergraduate research grant, graduate research grant, strategic research grant, internal grant, Dean's Fund, Deanship of Research Fund. Then I got, this is a true fact, I got 1 crore 38 lakhs 71,635 Indian rupees, that is equivalent to 61,186 Omani Riyal. In the last 10 years, I have acquired funds for more than 1 crore, around 1.5 crores of funds I have acquired for conducting research. And I became a co-principal investigator in 11 of the funded projects, as well as in the non-funded projects. I wrote 15 research proposals where I did not get the funds, but I wrote as a non-funded research projects. However, I am in the process of publishing all these funded and non-funded projects. How many of the papers I have already published, and still I am publishing many of the papers. So ultimately, I wanted to say passion is very important, because when you really wanted to achieve, or when you wanted to really excel in certain field, you should have strong passion towards achieving that passion. Then first one is, I would always advise you to go for focused research, because focused research is very important, where we have to keep our focus in one or two areas. Don't do research on whatever areas you want. No, please, because when I was there, 10 years back, my research was not at all focused. After joining here, my mentors told me, Judy, don't do research in different speciality. Try to focus in one or two areas only. Then nowadays, if you see, my research focus has, I have come down to simulation in healthcare as well as interprofessional education and collaborative practice. It is related to nursing education. When it comes to the specialty, I go more with pediatric hematological and neurological disorders, and specifically breastfeeding, caring, and history of nursing. These are the other areas where I focus, but mostly on simulation and interprofessional education and collaborative practice. These are my two core areas of research focus. Then coming to collaboration. Collaboration is very important when you're conducting research. It is not only with nursing faculty, you should be collaborating with multidisciplinary healthcare providers, because when you collaborate with multidisciplinary healthcare providers, you will learn from each other and your output will be excellent. So therefore, you should have a team where you can innovate, cooperate, you can meet, you can connect and support and discuss, and you can be successful in research. Therefore, always interprofessional or multidisciplinary collaboration is very much important for the research. And research grants, please go for research grants, which will be very helpful for you, so that you can appoint a research assistant and you can purchase a tool. Whatever you want, you can do with that research grant, which will be very helpful for conducting the research. Also, please attend research mentorship programs where you will learn from your mentors. And research interest and track. I'm suggesting you to keep a research interest or research track, which is very focused, so that you will not deviate from the track. So that if you see simulation, if you put my Google Scholar account, if you put Judie Arrulappan, you will see my research focus will in simulation in nursing education, I stand number 1. So if you really see, if you wanted to focus on that area, people will know, okay, Judy means Judy is a person who does research in simulation and interprofessional education and collaborative practice. So they will start citing your work. That is the reason I am asking you to go focused in research, so that you will not get deviated in the research track. And research interest group, you can formulate research interest groups in your institutions, where people having similar research interests can join as a group, and they can do lots of research lots of research. For example, I have registered simulation and interprofessional education and collaborative research group in the Sultan Quboos University. Therefore, I have a team of 8 faculty in this research group who are working with me. So we work together, and every time there will be one person will get an opportunity to be the principal investigator, so that all of us learn from each other, and we support each other. So this is very helpful in having a focused research, as well as people having similar research interest can work and get benefited from. And research group formation, when you formulate a research group, please always, I recommend to have an institutional email ID, because most of the institutions do not offer institutional email ID, because institutional email ID is always better to when you wanted to go with the Scopus and Web of Science publication. And you should have your Google Scholar ID, Scopus ID, ORCID ID. It is all like our Aadhaar card, where it gives identity. ORCID ID is like Aadhaar card only. For example, it gives identity for you as a researcher, so that when your ORCID ID is entered, all your publications will get attached to this ORCID ID. So similarly, when you're publishing in Scopus, all the Scopus index publications will be getting attached to that Scopus ID. When you're publishing in Google Scholar, automatically all the articles, irrespective of Scopus or Web of Science or PubMed, everything will be linked to the Google Scholar ID. Therefore, institutional email ID is very, very important. So now, before going to the publication, I wanted to quickly say a few words about, because whenever you are, before publishing, you should know the proper way of writing a research proposal, proper way of acquiring a grant, and proper way of conducting the study. Then only we can go for publication. Without understanding the tips, it is not easy to go for a publication. So when you are really writing a research proposal, please consider keeping these elements in the research proposal. There should be an abstract. There should be introduction, background, review of literature, research gap analysis, statement of the problem, because many of our people I have seen, they will be writing the statement of the problem and title as the same. Title is totally different, statement of the problem is totally different. Title, you will be writing 12 to 14 words where the key variables will be present in the title. But when it comes to the statement of the problem, what is the problem which made the researcher to conduct the study is the statement of the problem. Therefore, you should be very careful when you are writing the statement of the problem. It should be in 1 or 2 paragraphs with appropriate citation and references to the literature, so that people will understand this is the problem which made the researcher to conduct the study. So therefore, statement of the problem and title is totally different. If you have a wrong misconception about that, please try to get it clarified at this point. Then when you are formulating the objectives, you can formulate descriptive objective, exploratory objective, explanatory objective, comparative objective, predictive objective, qualitative and quantitative objectives. When it comes to the research questions, in qualitative research, we will go for research questions. But in quantitative research, we will go for hypothesis. So therefore, research questions are needed in qualitative studies and hypothesis is needed in quantitative studies. And you can write about the research approach. And research approach, there are 3 types of research approach: quantitative, qualitative and mixed methods research approach. Then research design, depending upon the type of approach, the designs will change. So that you have to write. Then you should write about the setting in detail, population, sample size, sampling technique should be written, inclusion and exclusion criteria, data collection instruments, reliability and validity of instruments, description of intervention in case if it is an interventional study, and ethical consideration should be written, and pilot study, timeline, budget, references, potential limitations of the test. What could be the limitation which we may encounter on completion of the study? Then appendices. The appendices will have the tools for data collection, the informed consent, information sheet, all those stuff will be there in the appendices. So all these should be written in a research proposal writing template, so that when the reviewers review it, they will find all this information, whichever is needed will be available in this form, so that you can write a research proposal, submit it, seek for ethical approval, then conduct the study. So this is about research proposal. Coming to the funding, why funding is required? Because funding is very much needed. People may think that there are no funding resources. No, there are multiple funding resources available. For example, National Institute of Nursing Research, American Nurses Association, Indian Council of Medical Research, Sigma Theta Tau International, International Nursing Association for Clinical Simulation and Learning, institutional research funds, then Memorial Cancer Center Library, National Institute of Health, Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, funding in our university. There are multiple funds available, as I mentioned: Dean's Fund, Deanship of Research Fund, Undergraduate Research Grant, Graduate Research Grant, Strategic Grant, HM Grant, Co-Funding Program, International Collaborative Funds. There are multiple funds available in the institution itself. Then apart from that, we have Oncology Nursing Foundation, Global Research Nurses Pump Priming Grants, International Society of Nurses in Genetics, NLN Nursing Education Research Grants, American Association of Heart Failure Nurses, Society of Pediatric Nurses. There are many. I have just highlighted only few, but there are many organizations which give fund for the nurses. Only thing, most of these organizations expect you to be the member of these organizations. When you're a member of these organizations, automatically you are eligible to apply for this funds. So therefore, I would recommend you to go for funds, so that you will be really conducting an impactful research. And coming to the tips for research grant writing, please understand the grant scheme, because every grant will have a scheme. So your research should be focusing on the scheme, and you should be partnering with the right mentor, because without a mentor, it is very difficult to write a granted proposal. Please always have a partner who is a very good researcher as a research mentor. Then assemble the best team for your research. As I mentioned, a research group. Then you should be providing a case for novelty, significance and urgency. Why this particular research is needed, you will have to write in a way that it is showing the novelty, significance and urgency. And you should maximize the feasibility, scientific quality and innovation. And you should be providing the evidence and data to substantiate the claims. And also you should ensure points of difference, how this proposal is different from, why it is different, and why do you want to conduct the study. Then you should clarify the return on investment, how it is going to reduce the economical, for example, when you conduct some research and when you produce something that should be giving benefit to the country. So for example, now recently I received a fund for around 80 lakhs Indian money. I received a fund in Oman. So that fund is a national study where they have given me an opportunity to work on that project, because I promised that I'm going to create an impact to the country. So that is the reason they have given a major fund for me. So therefore, we should write in a way that it is going to give a greatest investment to the country, and ensuring perfect presentation and formatting and incorporating critical feedback. So if somebody is giving feedback, the reviewers are going to give feedback, you should incorporate that feedback and you should make the proposal a strong one. So these are the tips for writing a research grant. So now especially when it comes to the conduction, I already told you how to write a proposal, how to request for the funds. Then when you wanted to conduct a research, you should start with a strong research question or a hypothesis, depending upon the type of study. And you should always go for a validated tools and instruments. Then you should conduct a thorough literature review, and you should do a gap analysis, and you should obtain the ethical approval. After getting the ethical approval, you should pilot test the study. Then you should, after pilot testing, you can modify if anything is required. Then you can go for a data collection, proper data collection, analysis, interpretation. Then you have to go for dissemination. This is very important. Now coming to the important part of my presentation today, publication of research work in the reputed journals and dissemination. So coming to the publication of research work, why do you want to publish? Now I was telling my experience in joining Sultan Quboos University. So in 10 years back, when I joined here, it is really, I would say that it is my luck or God's grace I joined this organization, because when I joined here, all my publications were not in Scopus. But the dean who interviewed me and the committee who interviewed me, they felt that because I promised that I will definitely learn and I will do my best. So based on that, they really recruited me. Otherwise, in this university, they never recruit a person who do not have a Scopus publication, because they always look for the credibility of the person as well as visibility of the person. Though my CV was strong in teaching and community service, my CV was not strong in research. However, the dean, she believed me and she trusted me and she appointed me in this university. So I respected her decision of appointing me, and that particular point I told her, Dr. Esra, I will definitely do my best, and I will be definitely publishing a lot of papers, and I will be really setting an example. So as I promised, I did it and I proved myself, and really everybody appreciates because I kept the promise. So that is one thing. It is giving academic credibility and recognition, and it improves the research quality, and we are able to disseminate the knowledge through the research, and we are able to get lots of indexing and citation, and it advances our career and influences policy and practice. These are reasons why we are expected to publish in reputed journals. So, for example, even I would like to say many people are struggling to move abroad, and they wanted to really get placements in abroad, but especially in the teaching position, they look for the publication. So in that aspect, I really recommend all of you to work seriously on this in case if you wanted to move abroad. And even our Indian universities, most of the universities are requiring the faculty to publish in Scopus Index journals for their promotions, all that stuff. So even for their PhD students, when they wanted to complete the PhD before completion of the submission of the thesis, they are expected to publish at least 2 manuscripts in Scopus Index journals. Indian universities also are raising the expectation so that the faculty and students are reaching that standard. So I really did not get proper mentorship, and that is the reason I got an opportunity and I just improved myself. But you as a faculty, you can start working on now onwards, so that you'll be really, if you have any plan of moving abroad, if you wanted to have promotion in our own universities, so that you can work so hard on it and you will be able to achieve that and succeed on that. So there are different types of manuscripts. First one is original research article. So you can conduct quantitative research, qualitative research, mixed method research, or pilot studies. Pilot studies, you all know, it's a small scale preliminary studies assessing the feasibility before a full scale study. These kind of research can be published. Even I would like to say, I published a research paper, for one of my PhD scholar. As a corresponding author, I published. It was only 15 samples. We published that paper in a Q1 journal. So please don't think that samples of 15 or 20 can be published or not. But if it is a pilot study, they will be accepting as a publication. But if it is a main study having 20 sample or 30 sample, they will reject it outrightly. So therefore, you should be very careful when you are submitting the paper for publication. If it is a pilot study, the small sample is enough. But when it comes to the main study, small sample will be rejected. Then coming to the review article, there are many types of review articles. We have systematic reviews, meta-analysis, scoping reviews, narrative reviews, umbrella reviews, and so on. So systematic review and meta-analysis have a very systematic way of writing, and you have to write it in a way that it is properly registered in Prospero and properly having a registration number, and systematic method of critical appraisal, evaluation, level of evidence. Many things have to be done in a systematic review and meta-analysis. When it comes to the scoping review, you will be mapping the existing literature to identify the gaps and trends in the nursing research. But when it comes to the narrative reviews, you will be providing a general summary of the literature without a strict methodological approach. That is the difference between scoping and literature narrative review. In scoping review, you will be mapping the existing literature which is already published, and you will see the gaps and trends in the nursing research. But in narrative review, you will not have a proper methodological approach. So in that situation, you will generally write a summary about the literature without having a strict methodological approach. Apart from that, you also can publish case reports, case studies, clinical practice articles, which includes innovative nursing interventions, protocols or best practice guidelines, and evidence-based practice manuscripts, which focus on translating research findings into clinical practice to improve the patient outcomes, and then theoretical and conceptual papers which can explore nursing theories, models and frameworks that guide the practice and research. Also, you can write editorials and commentaries which provide expert opinions on current issues in nursing, which is often written by senior researchers or practitioners in response to a new research or healthcare policy. Then coming to letters to the editor, you can write short responses to the published articles, and you can provide critiques and clarifications and additional insights. That is called as letters to the editor. Policy and ethics papers, it will discuss the healthcare policies, ethical dilemmas and legal issues affecting the nursing practice. And the last one is conference abstracts and proceedings. Summarize the ongoing research presented at nursing or healthcare conference. Here I wanted to highlight one thing about the conference abstract and proceedings. People always have a doubt when I present in the conference whether I can publish. When you are presenting in the conference, you are presenting to a very small group of audience, therefore you can publish. But when you are publishing, the same thing you cannot present in a conference. Why? Because publication is widely reached across the people across the globe, where already it is published. The same published paper cannot be presented in a conference, but conference can be published. Conference abstract can be published because conference abstract goes only to a local group of audience. Therefore, this is just for your clarification. Then when you're planning to submit a manuscript for publication, these are certain steps to select a target journal. You should always match the scope and audience of the journals. For example, as nurses, you should be going only for nursing related journals. So always you should look at the scope and audience, then check the type of articles published. Whether this journal has published systematic review, meta-analysis, case studies, original manuscripts, what type of articles are published in this journal, you have to check. Then you should also assess the journal quality and reputation. You should go to Scimago and you should check whether this is a quality journal, whether it is indexed in Scimago, whether it is indexed in Scopus, you have to check. And also you should check open access and fees, because there are always people have misconception regarding open access as well as subscription model journals. Open access journal is the one where as you have to pay the article processing charges. For example, in our university, they will pay until up to 2 lakhs for us to publish the article. So when the article, we have to pay from our pocket to publish the article, but when the article is published, they will return the money to us. For example, in Q1 journals only in case if you're publishing in Q1 journal, they will return the money to us. So therefore, in Q1 journal publication, you have to check whether it is a Q1 or Q2 or Q3 or Q4. There are open access options available and subscription option available. In open access option, you have to pay the article processing charges, you have to get it published. But in subscription model, the only people who have subscribed the journal alone will be having access to the article. So the difference is, in open access journals, everybody can download your article, they can cite your work. But in subscription model, only the subscribers will be able to download the articles and cite your work. Therefore, the chances of citation, the number of citations will be more in open access models, whereas the number of citation in subscription model will be less, because the subscribers only will be able to download and cite your article. This is the difference between open access and subscription model of publishing the manuscripts. Then also you should see the indexing and visibility, especially whether it is indexed in PubMed, Medline, Scopus, Web of Science, Sinahel. You should see that it will be there in the website pages. And also you should review the submission guidelines before writing the manuscript. And you have to evaluate the acceptance rates and publication time, because some journals will be giving a quick response. For example, they immediately give an editorial decision. In case if it is not matching with their scope of journal, they will reject at the editorial desk itself. But when it is falling within their scope of journal, then they will take it for review. Like that, there are some journals which will give editorial decision immediately. Certain journals will take time to give the editorial decision. So that you have to see the acceptance rate, what is the percentage of acceptance rate and what is the publication rate. That is very important. Then how to write each part of the article, this is very important. When you are writing the title of the article, if it is an interventional study, these components should be there in the title. PICOT. What is PICOT? Population, intervention, comparison, outcome and time. Or PICO. Population, intervention, comparison and outcome. And PEO is population, etiology and outcome. So in all this article, we cannot see PICOT and PICO unless and otherwise it is an interventional study. Other studies you can see PEO component. Therefore, you can select the type based on the type of the article. You have to see whether these components are available in the title. Then the title should have maximum of 15 to 20 words or less or 100 characters only, not more than this. And the short running title also can be written, and we can avoid using abbreviations in the title like DM, HT, like that. The abbreviation should never be written in the title. And also we should remove any non-essential words and phrases from the title. And you should use that words that create a positive impression and stimulate the interest of the readers. And you should use current nomenclature. For example, we should not use the term experimental group anymore because experiment is meant only for animals. We should never use the term experimental group. Instead, we should use study group or intervention group. And do not use question type of titles. These are the special consideration you should keep in mind when you are writing the title in the manuscript. Then coming to the abstract, there are two types of abstract. One is structured abstract, another one is unstructured abstract. What is structured abstract? In quantitative studies, mostly we will be writing structured abstract, like 70 to 300 words it may range from, and it should include the title, introduction, background, aims and objectives, methods, results, conclusion, implications for practice and keywords. When you are coming to the unstructured abstract, it is usually requested in qualitative studies. The word count can be ranging from 150 to 300 words, and there should not be any citations in the abstract. No abbreviation should be used in the abstract. And in certain journals will be asking for a tweetable abstract. So you can go for a tweetable abstract as well. So this is an example of a structured abstract. As I mentioned, it has a structure. Title, background, objective, methods, results, conclusion, implications of practice. Therefore, it is called as a structured abstract. This is an unstructured abstract where there will not be any subheadings. You will be writing it as a paragraph with all the details. And coming to the keywords, because when after writing the abstract, the next step is keywords. How we will identify the keywords. You should go to this mesh database, which is from NCBI, where what you have to do is you have to write the terms, whatever is related to your study. So the relevant words should be written, typed here, and you should see whether it is mapped with the mesh database. If it is mapped with the mesh database, those keywords only should be used in the manuscript. You should not use any other key terms in the manuscript, because otherwise it will not, when you are publishing the article online, if the keywords are not proper, it will not easily pick up the article. Therefore, the keyword should be mapped with the mesh database. And coming to the introduction should be written as a compelling introduction where you will be writing a research question, and you will be providing a relevant background information and highlight the significance of the study. For example, when you are writing the introduction, it should have 4 to 6 paragraphs, and 10 to 15% of the manuscript's word count is completed in the introduction. So every sentence, whatever you are referring from other sources, should be properly cited and appropriate reference should be written. So you can use Zotero or EndNote, or manually also you can write the references. So it is up to you, but if you are trained in Zotero, EndNote like that, referencing software, you can use that. In case if you are not trained in that, you can manually also do it. So also you should engage the readers by demonstrating the gap in the knowledge and what is the problem which made you to conduct the study. And a clear statement of the problem should be written with objectives, and studies more than 5 to 10 years old should be avoided, and literature within the last 5 years is always preferable. And coming to the methods should be written in a way that is the next person should be able to replicate the study. The method should be completely in detail should be written. For example, it should include the research approach, study design, participants, sample size, sampling technique, data collection instruments, data collection procedures, inclusion and exclusion criteria, ethical considerations, intervention and data analysis methods. Everything should be perfectly written so that anybody who wants to replicate the same study which is written by Judie, for example, Judie has published a research. The methodology, when the person is reading a methodology, they should understand, okay, I can conduct the study in India. So same methodology I'm going to adopt, only the sitting I'm going to change, but everything is easily adaptable so that a person will be able to replicate your study. So it should be written in that way. It can be conducted again. And you should always follow the reporting guidelines, because this is the Equator network where which type of study, depending upon the type of study, you should report the study using the reporting guideline. For example, RCT means consort guidelines. You should follow observational study strobe guidelines, systematic reviews PRISMA, study protocol spirit or PRISMA P, diagnostic and prognostic studies STARD and tripod, case study, case reports CARE, clinical practice guidelines AGRI, qualitative research COREC, and animal preclinical studies, quality improvement studies SQUARE, economic studies CHEERS. So like this, for each type of study, there is a reporting guideline. So you should be using this reporting, you should download and you should write whether whatever headings mentioned under these protocols are available in your manuscript. And 30 to 40% of the manuscript should be with your methodology. So you should write what was done, where it was done, and how it was done. So it should be properly documented so that even if you have used any equipments, any physical conditions, which is very, whatever you have mentioned, done in your study should be completely mentioned in detail. So therefore, people will be able to follow the same thing when they wanted to conduct the study. So next, coming to the results, how will you present the results? When you're presenting the result, this is the heart of the manuscript. Here you will be writing, especially when you're writing the methodology as well as results, it should be written only in past tense. Why? Because the study is already completed. Therefore, methodology as well as results, discussion, everything should be written in past tense only. So here you will be writing the results of the study based on the objective. So every objective, what is the results, whether it is a descriptive or inferential statistical information, properly it should be documented. Similarly, you have to always relate the results of the study with the diagrams, with the figures and tables. For example, figure 1 denotes what, table 1 denotes what. You have to properly position it and cite it so that people will be able to cross-check the tables and figures with the write-up in your manuscript. So this is very important. Then coming to the discussion and interpretation, where you will be writing this part mainly to fill the gap that was identified in the introduction, and you will be writing the true interpretation in the discussion section. So here you will be always go for supportive literature and non-supportive literature also. It is not compulsory that you have to write only the supportive literature. Sometimes one author would have identified some contradictory findings. So you have to write both supportive findings as well as contradictory findings. In case if there is contradictory findings, you should say that further studies are required to be conducted so that the difference between the supportive and non-supportive study findings can be analyzed. So if there is any, please keep that in mind. Supportive and non-supportive studies can always be discussed in the discussion part of the manuscript. Similarly, don't cover up any deviant result. In case if the results are going to be deviant, accept it. Because sometimes because of some methodological limitations also, there may be deviant results. So you have to accept and you have to put it in the limitation. So therefore, don't worry even if the results are going to be deviant. It is not necessary that when you're conducting interventional study, always the result should be positive. No, sometimes it can be negative as well. So you have to be ready to accept the deviant results as well. Similarly, you have to always use the safe words like may, might, show, demonstrate, suggest, or report. Don't ever say proved, because none of the study is going to prove anything. There is always a chance of error. Therefore, we should never use the term proved. And at the end of the discussion, you should write the strengths and limitations of the study, and what are the recommendations for the future study, and what are the implications of the study. That has to be ended in the discussion part of the manuscript. So 20% of the word count will be counted in the discussion part of the manuscript. Lastly, when you're coming to the conclusion, you have to write the final thoughts on your results and what are the main study means going to take forward, and always provide future perspectives, how it is going to create an impact for the clinical practice. That should be written in the conclusion. So here, when you're writing the conclusion, it should give a long-lasting impact to the reader, because when a person is reading the abstract as well as conclusion, the person should be able to understand what is the main message you are going to give in the manuscript. That is very important. So we have to provide a strong reference according to the journal requirement. It can be APA style or Vancouver style or MLA style. According to the style which is required from the journal, you have to use the reference citation, reference as well as citation. So all the cited references, citation should be listed in the references as well. For example, in case if it is already mentioned in the citation, in corresponding to the citation, the reference also should be written down. So therefore, please make sure the citation and references are matching with each other. So depending upon the journal, 30 to 50 citations are allowed in an original study. But in case of a systematic review, more references also can be added depending upon the journal requirement. Coming to the acknowledgement, people who did not contribute to the authorship should be written only in the acknowledgement. For example, who provided some assistance, technical help or general support during the study should be put only in the acknowledgement section. Please understand, people who contribute in the write-up only are eligible to become an author of the manuscript. So people who are supporting in the data collection or people who are technically helping, you can put their name in the acknowledgement section. It is not necessary that you have to put them in the as authors. Then coming to the conflict of interest, you have to declare that there is no conflict of interest to publish. That is very important. Then credit author statement. This is another important thing because whoever contributed what. For example, JA means Judie Arrulappan. What is your contribution? So everything should be written with the alphabetical. So JA means Judie Arrulappan, JA. So accordingly, all the authors should write their initials and what is their contribution to the study. So this is very important to be included in the manuscript. So this is a author statement. Multiple things we can write in author statement. So you can pick up any of these information so that according to the contribution, people can write the credit author statement as shown here. Then coming to the funding statement, if you have received any funding, you have to definitely acknowledge the funding source so that the university, whoever is giving the fund, will get the acknowledgement. So the funding statement is very important. In case if you did not receive any funding, you can write no specific grant source obtained from any organization. And we have to pay attention to the clarity because the language is very important, because even after writing, because we are from non-English speaking countries. So including me, I am from a non-English, because I am from India. So my English may not be appropriate for the international audience. So what I have to do is I have to go for editing. So English language editing services are available. Therefore, after writing the manuscript, it should be sent for proofreading. So they will be checking for the grammar, structure, punctuation. They will edit the article properly and they will give it to us. Because for example, whenever I publish any manuscript, I always send it to proofreading services, which are Oxford proofreading services. Cambridge proofreading services. So according to the number of words, can you please mute the mic? Somebody is speaking. Can you please mute the mic? Somebody is speaking in between.
मेरी भाभी को 15 दिन से पूरा करे.
Can you please mute the mic? Somebody is talking in between. Dr. Poonam?
Yes, ma'am. It's done. It's done.
Okay. So therefore, because if anybody has doubts towards the end of my session, they can ask doubts. So please ask them to take a note so that I will clarify their doubts when I'm done with the presentation. So then proofreading services are available so that you can give it for editing. Then the paper will become perfect for international audience. That is very important. Then you always should seek for feedback and revise. Always get feedback from the colleagues, mentors, and experts in the research field, because you can incorporate the suggestions to have better clarity, logical flow, and overall quality of the manuscript can be improved. And always we should be persistent and resilient, because as I mentioned, my first experience with publication is 13 times rejection. So I did not get demotivated because of this 13th time rejection. So I was really having that, I was resilient, and I was working on the manuscript further, and that manuscript which got rejected 13 times got more citation now, because the paper has become a best paper because of multiple rejection. I got more and more feedback from people so that I improved the paper, and finally that is one of the paper which has more citation. So therefore we should be persistent and resilient so that we can achieve. So now these are the things which should be organized in the manuscript. For example, there should be a cover letter. There should be authorship file. Every file should be separately kept when you're submitting the manuscript. Cover letter should be addressed to the chief editor. The authorship file should be containing the list of authors, their affiliation, email ID, and ORCID ID. And title page should be containing the title, abstract, and keywords. And blinded main manuscript should contain the manuscript in AIMRAD format. What is the AIMRAD? Abstract, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And references should be written as per the journal requirement. and legends to all the tables and figures should be written. And other than that, you have to write the author contribution, acknowledgement, conflict of interest, funding body, and ethical approval. And table should be kept in a separate file. Figures or illustration should be kept in a separate file. Reviewers file should be written separately, because if you're suggesting for any reviewers or if you are opposing any reviewers, that should be written. And supplementary files like raw data files, ethical clearance, and appendices can be kept in the supplementary file. And this is the overview of the editorial process. When you are submitting to the journal, when it is out of scope, they will return and they will reject in the editorial desk itself. In case if it is falling into the journal's requirement, then they will take it for review. In the first stage, they will either reject or ask for modification. In the second stage, you will be asked to submit the modified version, and finally it will be accepted or rejected. So multiple times, even 3-4 times also, they may give the review comments. So you should not worry even if the comments comes in the third time or fourth time. Sometimes in order to improve the paper, third or fourth revision also we may expect. This is the editorial process which happens. So you have to understand the target journal. As I mentioned, please go for nursing journals. Don't go for other journals, because it will not fall under our scope. So similarly, you have to familiarize yourself with the journal's previous publications, target audience and formatting requirements. And we have to adhere to the specific guidelines of the journals. And you can go for the journal finder like Elsevier, Springer, Sage, MDPI, Gavin, Jane. There are lots of journal finders available. And please avoid publishing in predatory journals. And go to Schemago and identify whether it is Q1, Q2, Q3 or Q4. Then you have to understand whether it is an open access model or subscription model. And you should never submit the same manuscript to more than one journal. That is totally wrong. You should be submitting to one journal at a time. So as I mentioned, this is the journal finder, Elsevier journal finder, Springer journal finder. And these are the links of other journal finders, which is already available in the internet. And finally, the tips to publish the manuscript: you have to find a warm-up period to draft the notes. We should sit in a quiet room, and you should write, and you can choose a workplace or home, but you should be sitting in a peaceful place so that your mind will work and you'll be able to write. And always have a writing buddy. So successful writers are said to be successful writing buddy. So you can keep a deadline to complete the first draft. Then you should organize your thoughts and arguments, and always follow this AIMRAT format: abstract, introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And select your journal for the first submission. Discuss your first draft with a writing buddy, make revisions, and second draft can be sent to the personal editor. And personal editor can give some recommendations so that you can rewrite and refine. So critical review always will be helpful to improve the paper, and do not procrastinate too long. And you should always check for the spell, grammar, and reference. And also plagiarism is very important. Less than 10% of similarity index is required. Don't keep the similarity index for more than 10%. The journal will reject your papers in the first attempt itself. If you wanted to publish a case report, you should be getting consent from the patient. And ethical approval depends upon the university and institutional policy. In most of the institutions, they don't need ethical approval for case report, but written permission from the doctor who is treating the child or the patient, as well as the parents' permission is required. And there should not be any identifying information of the case. That is very important. When you wanted to publish for a systematic review, the first step is doing a Prospero registration. For a systematic review, no ethical approval is required. For all the other manuscripts, ethical approval is required. So then after that, you have to submit to the journal portal. You have to track the manuscript status, respond to the comments of the reviewers, revise and resubmit if required, and approve the final proof, and share the publication through social media, email, and conference proceedings. So when you are getting some comments from the reviewers, don't take the comments personally, because these comments will help you to improve the manuscript. So therefore, always accept the reviewers' comments with a positive attitude so that you will improve your paper. And when it is getting rejected, usually most of the journal, less than 20% of the articles only will be getting accepted. So don't get discouraged. So because many rejected papers are leading to successful papers. Therefore, take time to think about it and submit it to another journal. Write a letter to the editor and ask if this paper is appropriate to the journal, and collaborate with more experienced writers, and try to undergo this journal clubs and critical appraisal groups and research groups, so that you will learn from each other. So these are the unacceptable authorship. For example, guest authorship is something, for example, imagine that I am a person who has published more. So people may think that anyway, if I'm including Dr. Judy, I will have more likelihood of my publication. So therefore, the status of the paper may improve. So when you are giving some weightage for some people, the name of some people will increase the chance of publication if you're adding somebody's name. That is called as guest authorship, which is not correct. Similarly, ghost writing is the hired authors will be writing the manuscript, but their names will not be mentioned as co-authors. That is called as ghost writing, which is also not correct. Gift authorship, for example, the dean or head of the department, when you are including them without any contribution, that is called as gift authorship. That is again, which is not correct. Anonymous authorship is publishing some papers under pseudonyms or anonymously. That is again unethical. Then forged authorship, you will be giving the authorship to somebody without getting the consent from them. So that is called as forged authorship. Then finally, it is called a theft authorship. You will be getting the information from some other's work and you will be writing it as though you did the work. That is called as theft authorship. All these are unethical authorship. Similarly, people may have a doubt whether I should be the first author, corresponding author, last author. So first author and corresponding author has equal weightage and last author also has the equal weightage. Because first author will be always the person who has drafted the initial manuscript. Last author is the senior author who is the guarantor for the manuscript, and corresponding author takes the complete responsibility in the pre and post publication process. So all three of you will be getting equal weightage of being the author. So other than that, there are lots of things, co-first authors, joint first authors, joint corresponding author, joint last author. Some journals have these kind of authorship also. But there are no standard guidelines for the number of authors. Even many papers have more than 100 authors also. So there are no standard guidelines for the number of authors in a manuscript. So these are the common problems with the manuscripts. If it is too wordy or too long, it will be very, it's a common problem in the manuscript, not of interest to the readership of the journal. And if there are grammar, spelling error, formatting error, it will be rejected. Content is incomplete. Study limitations are not well stated. For example, people may think, oh, I had all these problems to my study, let me not state it. But you have to state it. When there is some limitations you have encountered in your study, when you are stating it, the editors will understand, oh, the person is very honest. So he or she has given the limitations of study in the manuscript. So possibility for getting the acceptance will be more if you are writing the study limitation. If you are not writing the study limitation, they will think that you are trying to cover up the information. So ghostwriters and are not permitted. So these are some common problems. And most of the manuscripts are rejected when the author guidelines are not properly followed, the AIMRAT format when it is not followed, when the introduction is not matching with the discussion, abstract is missing information in the abstract, title doesn't match the focus of the manuscript, poor English, not to the interest of the audience, incomplete data, poor analysis, inappropriate methodology, weak research motive, inaccurate conclusion, all that may lead your manuscript to get rejected. So these are the editorial reasons for rejection: out of scope, not enough of an advance or enough of impact, research ethics is ignored, lack of proper structure, lack of the necessary detail for the readers, lack of up-to-date references, poor language quality, difficult to follow logic and poorly presented data, violation of publication ethics. All these are reasons for editorial reasons for rejection. So finally, to conclude, because the predatory publication, you should be very careful with the predatory journal as well as predatory conferences, because many people are trying to get huge publication charges, and they try to publish manuscripts in non-index journals, like the one which I got cheated when I was back home. So predatory journals, we get really trapped with the predatory journal. So therefore, you should be extremely careful with the predatory journal. So because they will not be run by scholarly or academic or technical society, they will not receive any public funds. They will be sending spam emails and they will highlight about the journal metrics, which may not be true. The editor-in-chief may not be belonging to the original specialty. They will give a false claim that it is indexed in PubMed. And they will promise fast publication. They will promise easy peer review process. They have titles very close to highly respected journals like International, World, Global, Universal. When you have those kind of names, you should be extremely careful. And they will say their journal is located in major cities like London and New York, and people may get attracted to that. Make it difficult to find who manages the journal. The scope of interest will include non-biomedical subjects as well. The website will have lots of spelling and grammatical errors. The images given in the journal will be distorted and fuzzy. And the homepage language targets the authors. The index Copernicus value is promoted on the website, and manuscript handling process will be lacking. Manuscripts are usually requested through the email in case of a predatory journal. Rapid publication is promised. No retraction policy. In case if there is error, usually in Scopus journals, they will retract the articles. So in this journals, there is no retraction policy also. So the article processing charges will be either very less or very high. So that email of the journals will be like Gmail, Yahoo, such things you should never trust. So this is an example of a predatory journal. You can see this is Omics International Journal is a predatory journal. For example, I just wanted to tell you this is an example of a predatory journal. So therefore, you should understand whitelist and blacklist journal. Whitelist journals are trustworthy journals. Blacklist journals are untrustworthy journals. So similarly, people will be attracting you for the predatory conferences also. So they'll say the conference is going to be conducted in Dubai, or conference is going to be conducted in the US. Please don't get attracted to this, because predatory conferences only will be sending emails. And from standard organizations, they will never send an email requesting you to apply for the conference. You have to go to the site and you have to apply for the conference. So you should be very careful. So how the last slide I would like to say about whether we can use artificial intelligence and research. There are lots of artificial intelligence options available, like Consensus, SciSpace, Notebook LM, Scopus AI, Web of Science AI, data secure, because all these are artificial intelligence sites available from the standard databases itself. But when you are using this AI, you should always acknowledge the use of AI in the research, and you should also cite the use of AI in the publication. So the plagiarism also will be checked in Zero GPT and Turnitin. So in case if you are using the information from ChatGPT, Zero GPT and Turnitin will easily identify that you have taken this information from these AI platforms. So with this, I am just concluding my session. If you have any doubts now, you may ask. So let's connect, because I am very much interested in training people on research. So I am running nursing research mentorship services, and I teach and train people on writing a systematic review, and how to write a research proposal, how to seek fund for the nursing research, and also I do an academic writing and publication services. If anybody is interested, you may contact me for any kind of assistance. I am happy to help. These are my contact details. Thank you so much for the time and opportunity. So now you can ask, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Angelina ma'am, you can take the queries. Those are there in the chat box. I can see there are few queries in the chat box.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful session. There's a question from the participant, that is how to analyze the research gap.
Yes, it is very simple, dear. Actually, what you have to do is, as I mentioned, whenever you are conducting a study, I told you the research from the last 5 to 10 years only should be taken. Maximum last 5 years only, because in our university all, they don't encourage us to go for more than 5 years of literature. So you should be, for example, as I mentioned, the PICO or PICOT, according to that, the title will be formulated. So when you're doing a research, when you're doing a literature search, you should always use a Boolean search terms. So therefore, there are 3 Booleans, and or not. So when you are using the Boolean search terms, whatever are the key variables of your study, you will put it in the Boolean search terms. For example, ADHD and junk food. So then when you are putting ADHD and junk food, you will get all the information related to ADHD and junk food. When you are writing ADHD or junk food, the information related to ADHD will come, the information related to junk food will come. So like that, you should know appropriately to use the Boolean search to identify the appropriate article. After identifying the appropriate article in the last 5 years, for example, you have to read each article and you have to see what is the gap which is existing between the published literature. So they would have already published, but certain information would not have been identified yet. So that information you may want to you may want to explore in your current study. So unless and otherwise you review the existing literature and identify what is the existing gap which is motivating you to conduct the study, that is called as research gap analysis. When you do the research gap analysis, you will be able to take a proper research titles to go forward with your study. That is the reason we are asking you to go for a research gap analysis. So what is the next question? as you conveyed, the title and problem statement is different, and the scholar should mention the detailed way in problem statement, approximately 2 paragraphs. Like we have to mention the, okay, I want to ask, what is the difference between the problem statement, background, and need for the study? Excellent. See, first of all, you should understand the need for title. As I mentioned, the title, PICO, PICOT, or PO alone should be there in title. So that is very clear, because title will have only 12 to 14 words, not more than that. When it comes to the statement of the problem will be telling you what is the reason which made you to conduct the study. For example, I am living in Oman. In Oman, sickle cell disease is very common. If I am conducting a study, health-related quality of life of children with sickle cell disease, the magnitude of the problem of sickle cell disease is very high in Oman, and the quality of life of people living with sickle cell disease is very poor in Oman. That is the reason I really wanted to explore more in detail about the health-related quality of life of children with sickle cell disease in Oman, because I will be highlighting the statistical information as well as the problem which made me to conduct the study. That should be written in 1 or 2 paragraphs as a statement of the problem. But when you are writing the introduction and background, you will be introducing the variables of the study in the introduction. In the background, you will be giving the statistical information about this particular variable internationally, nationally, regionally, and locally. But when you come to the statement of the problem in the local study setting, what is the problem which is existing, which made you to conduct the study? That is the way you should be writing the statement of the problem. Hope I clarified your doubt, Arshid. Hope I clarified your doubt, Arshid. Arshid is
Arshid,
there?
if you want to ask something more, you can unmute yourself as well. Mr.
Yes,
Arshid.
Arshid, I'm happy to clarify more. Hope you're clear now. Did you understand the difference between title, introduction, background, and statement of the problem? I want all of you to be clarified with this, because many of the thesis what I receive, they repeat the title and the statement of the problem same. I really get irritated. What is this? There is no difference between title and statement of the problem. So please understand that each one, I think he is not unmuting. I clarified. Hope everybody got it clear. Next doubt is, dear all, kindly follow. Okay. Thank you
Another
so much.
question is Boolean search, ma'am. Can you explain more about Boolean search?
Excellent, excellent. Boolean search, there are 3 terms available. In Boolean search terms, we say and, or, not. These are the 3 Boolean search terms. When you are putting and, you will be getting information. For example, as I mentioned, ADHD and junk food. When I am writing ADHD, A and D should be capital letters. When I am writing ADHD and junk food, all the articles having relationship between ADHD and junk food will be getting downloaded, or I will be able to track all those articles which has relationship between ADHD and junk food. When I am searching with ADHD or junk food, the articles related to ADHD alone will come separately. The articles related to junk food alone will come separately. It will not have a linkage. That is it will separate the search. But when I am writing ADHD, not junk food, the articles related to ADHD alone will come. None of the articles related to junk food will come. Hope it is clear. So this is a search strategy where you have to put the keywords appropriately to identify. When you wanted to identify the articles showing the relationship, we should use and. When you wanted to have independent information, you should use are. When you want only one information, you should use not. All should be in capital letters. When you're searching in PubMed or whichever database, you can use this Boolean search in searching the article. Hope it is clear. Okay. The next one is...
Another question is, how many minimum reviewed literature required? What is the year duration for including in literature?
It depends. For example, this is a very important question. When you are writing some information in the introduction, I already told you 5 to 6 paragraphs can be written in introduction. So I mentioned about 30 to 50 references. 30 to 50 references means you have to divide these 30 to 50 references across the manuscript. So the introduction should have 5 to 6 paragraphs. Then the methodology will not have much of citation, because only the tool which we are using, we will be using the citation for the tool. When it comes to the discussion, you may use around 8 to 10 paragraphs can be written in the discussion, considering the objectives of the study. So you have to decide how many articles can be put up, especially the maximum number of articles will come in the discussion. So that introduction will cover 5 to 6 paragraphs. The discussion will cover 8 to 10 paragraphs. where minimum of 30 and maximum of 50 references can be cited within the last 5 to 10 years. If it is an interventional study, always go for 5 years literature. In case of, because interventional study, the things might change, because in the recency of info, if you see the old literature may give a very, or maybe the information may be outdated. But in case of an interventional study, it is always advisable to use last 5 years literature. But in case of a non-interventional study, 5 to 7 years, 5 to 10 years, if no other choice, if the limited literatures are available, we can go for that. But as I mentioned, 30 to 50 is the reference list. Accordingly, you can, depending upon the number of paragraphs you are going to write, in the introduction can be 40% and 60% can be in the discussion. That is the way you can use the references. Every reference, every information should be cited. So don't leave any statement or any paragraph without any, because say for example, some people will be writing the same reference for the whole paragraph, which is again not acceptable, because nobody is supposed to take full paragraph from a literature. If you are taking a full paragraph, that means you are plagiarizing the information. So therefore, you should never plagiarize such information. Hope you are clear. So this is the, I think I answered for that question. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Another is, as a novice, how can we start conducting and publishing research? A few tips is
As a novice
required.
researcher, actually, I would recommend you to go for mentorship programs. As I really had one of my mentor who is a Ugandan, Dr. Gerald. He is my friend, and I got my mentorship only from him, because when I joined here, I used to go to him and ask a few tips, and he used to help me. And in the beginning, he used to edit my manuscripts. So he used to help me, because his his first language is English. So he used to have good proficiency in English. So he used to edit my manuscripts. So most of my papers, his name is also included as an author, because we conduct research together. So like that, I started getting mentorship from him. Apart from that, if you really wanted some mentorship programs with me also, I am happy to help. And you can, because I do one-to-one mentorship programs. I do mentorship programs for a group of researchers. So you can get in touch with me, so that I will be able to conduct some mentorship program. So even systematic review, if anybody is interested in learning systematic review, I can train you in conducting a systematic review, how to do a systematic review, so that also is possible. And I also help in academic writing services. I also help people how to write and publish the manuscripts. I just help them throughout the way of writing the manuscript and submitting the manuscript for publication, addressing the comments. Until the last stage, I usually support people. So that way also, I will be definitely helping you. I am ready to help whoever is interested. So you can contact me in my mobile number. So I already shared my mobile number in the beginning and the end. You can contact me. I'll be happy. Ma'am, for systematic review, how many minimum review literature required, and what is the year duration for including the literature? Also permission request. For systematic review, you should go for Prospero registration. Without Prospero registration, you cannot do a systematic review. Similarly, it is not the number of literature, because it is based on the number of literature available. For example, the duration, how many years of articles you are taking. If you are taking 5 years, whatever is the article which is coming under the PICOT, you have to take those many number of articles. It is not, there is no minimum or maximum number of articles to be taken for a systematic review. It is all depending upon the period you are choosing and the year. Like for example, if in the 5 years means you may get less articles. If in the last 10 years means you may get more article. Depending upon the year of search, the number of articles might vary. So please reply to this question. I think I answered for the systematic review. Any other questions? Please elaborate more on background. I already explained. As a novice, how can we start conducting and publishing research? So please be in touch with me. I will definitely be able to guide you. Ma'am, compared to conducting research study, working for publication feel very difficult. From your side, please give suggestions. Actually, conducting study is interesting. Similarly, publishing is very interesting. For example, I am very much passionate in writing. So for me, writing is my, I enjoy writing, because I sit in my office quietly and I write. At least 1 hour per day I spend for my publication. Every day I sit for at least 1 hour in writing a manuscript. So that you have to spend some time in writing your manuscript, because when you're conducting research and when you're just putting it without publishing, it is a waste of time and energy. So therefore, whoever is conducting research, please publish also. So that when you're publishing, your visibility will be more. Now I happily say, when you put my name in the Google as Judie Arrulappan, 10 to 12 pages will open in my name. I'm so happy that I am visible to the people across the world. So therefore, I would really recommend you to publish, so that you will be visible to, you'll be internationally known. That is the thing which I can share. Please share again the contact details. Thank you so much for the, so nice. Okay. I will share madams. Okay. You can share my number to them. So I will just write my number also in the group. 968 9563 1235. This is the, I am available in this WhatsApp number. So my email ID I am giving, judy@sku.edu.om. So I have shared my contact number as well as my email ID. Any other doubts?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this informative session. Hope we all have learned a lot from this. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, Poonam, ma'am.
Thank you, Angelina ma'am. Really, we are very much grateful to you, Judy ma'am. Whenever I used to ask you in a single minute, you are always ready to connect with NTI, and madam is so generous that she's always said, yes, yes, I will be available. In spite of her so much busy schedule madam is having, but she's so humble and she's always ready to help for the young researcher in nursing birds in the India as well. And really, it was a very excellent session you had, as always you used to be. When I was speaking to my colleagues, including Angelina also, I was like, there are one speaker from Muscat, Oman, and madam is very known to me. And the session is going to be very excellent with madam. So definitely, and you did that job very well, ma'am. Seriously. And it was very enriching session for me as well, because many of us are learning to how to conduct research, how to publish research, because India, we are lagging very behind in such criteria, because most of the time we are not getting ethical permission from our institutions, from the hospitals, from clinical side. So many 50% of the researchers stop their research study there only. They used to dump. Then after that, if they are conducting research also, then there are a lot of problems in publishing, because lot of phishing sites are there, lot of fake sites are there, and journal publications they are doing somehow. But with your these mindful sessions, ma'am, we are coming to know that how we can publish accordingly, and how we can progress in nursing field as well. So it's our privilege, and I am very much grateful to you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and delivered this excellent session. And all the participants are very happy, because I can say so much queries are there. They are asking their doubts. It means they were listening very carefully, ma'am. And in near future also, I will discuss to you. We can run mentorship program also, exclusively those who are interested to conduct systematic reviews and for research as well. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure. That's the reason I always tell my failure story and success story. Because people should not think that I am successful from the beginning. No. I was unsuccessful with 60 papers. Lots of work I have done and wasted my time and energy and money, material, everything. But after coming here, really, I got a chance to learn. And in the beginning, I got a little bit of mentorship. After that, here also I had lots of challenges because, people are jealous and people don't like us coming up. They say Indians means what you people know. Because here all foreigners know. They say what you people know. Indians means you don't publish, you don't conduct research. And I really just kept a full stop for all those nonsense. Because people, when they speak, they speak without knowing the capacity of our Indians. So Indians are more capable and we have more capacity. Only thing is we feel that we are not mentored properly. That's what I say. Because if our teachers would have got good experience with publication, good experience in conducting research, maybe we would have been good students. But unfortunately, we did not get that kind of mentorship from our teachers. That is the reason I took it as a challenge and I proved myself. In the last 10 years, it's a huge growth in my professional life, I would say. Because the people were really mocking at me, what you will be able to, what you will do, because you come from a non-English speaking country, how you will publish all that. But I just, whatever they said, I said, what you think is different. So I can do more than what you people think. So that is the way. Now in the college, I am top 1. And in the university, I am in the top 10. That means it is an evidence that we can do anything because all of us have the capacity. So if you really understand that you have greater capacity within you, you will be really able to achieve a lot more than what we think about ourselves. So that is a simple motivational message I would like to give for the younger generation. And prove yourself, keep a record, because like I always feel, even if you're not existing in the world, your writings will never go off because your writings are already always existing. because already I wrote and my papers are already available online, and because people are citing the work. And one person called me and said, Dr. Judy, I took your publication as my PhD research. I felt so happy. So at least we are just they are referring us for assimilation research. For example, I was so happy. So this is the way we should be create an impact in the society. So there should be an evidence that we lived in the society and we created an impact in the society. That is my personal philosophy, and I would recommend all of you to please have that philosophy in life, and you will be great achievers in life. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Poonam and Angelina. Thank you so much, all the participants. I really got lots
Thank you
of
so
feedback.
much.
I could see very good feedback from many members. Thank you so much. I'm really very happy
Thank you
seeing the
so
feedback.
much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Seriously, thank
Bye
you
bye.
so much, ma'am, for this catalytic message, actually. And you have proved well. Whenever we put Dr. Judie Arrulappan in Google, we can see a lot of articles. And I think that was the way I came to know you. This was the very first
Okay.
thing during the COVID time I came to know about. Then I discussed with Dr. Gopi Chandran sir, and he also referred once you contacted Judy ma'am. And that thing started to work out from there. And really, you are a great inspiration for all of us, all the young researchers as well. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. And we all love you so much. Would
Love you
like to see you
too.
in near
Thank you.
future.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Bye
ma'am.
bye.
Bye-bye, ma'am.
Bye bye.
So, dear participants, thank you so much for joining us with today. And I hope everyone is agree that this was a very rich session on how to publish and how to write the articles. And I will share the contact details of Judy ma'am in WhatsApp group as well, so that you can connect with Judy ma'am personally also, and you can get your personal one-to-one mentorship program from madam. You can learn, and you can succeed, and you can start your research path from today onwards. Thank you, everyone. And for the last session of this webinar series, see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. So here we are adjourning this meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a great time ahead.